35 years is a long, long time. I should know, I'm in my late 30s. And so today we celebrate Castlevania's 35th anniversary. Yes, today is the day for this little game's anniversary. This is the very first Castlevania game that ever came out. And it came out on the Famicom Disk System first, actually. It didn't come out on the Famicom until years later. And, of course, you all know this one, most likely. This is the original Castlevania that came out in the NES. So this one, it's not its anniversary yet, but technically it is. They're the same game overall. But this game right here, Famicom Disk System, it's kind of interesting because I don't know if you can see this, but I have it signed. And I figured I'd share my story in celebration. So a couple of years ago, I went to, well, wow, it's almost 10 years ago actually, now that I think about it. It's like nine years ago, I think, 8. I went to MagFest. And I went specifically because I usually go because of the composers, and they really haven't been delivering. That's why I haven't gone. There were a few times where I was like, oh, I could have met, Keiji Inafune, the co-creator of Mega Man. Well, not really the co-creator, but, the guy that, I guess was like the series runner. He was the artist, basically, lead artist. Anyways, back to Castlevania. So I went to MagFest to meet 3 different composers. Kinuyo Yamashita, who is the composer on Castlevania, as well as games like Power Blade, Power Blade 2, Mega Man X3, and a ton of others. So also got to meet Yuzo Koshiro, Streets of Rage, ActRaiser, etc., and Chris Holzbeck, Gianna Sisters, Jim Power, Turrican, etc. So anyways, I got to the con, to MagFest, and I'm walking around, and then I realized, because I had forgot to bring my copy of Castlevania. Now, I didn't have this boxed at the time. I got this box maybe 5 years ago, something like that. But I only had the cart for the longest time, and I finally broke down and was like, I'm just gonna buy it complete in box, so I have it. I'm glad I did, because now the prices are insane. But this one, I didn't own. I didn't even own a Famicom Disk System at the time when I bought this. It was just one of those things where I bought it. And the reason why is because Kinuyo Yamashita was doing autographs. And, I said to myself, okay, I have to get an autograph from her. She's the lead, or she was the primary composer on the first Castlevania. There's another composer that worked with her as well. But she was, from what I understand, the primary lead composer on the game. And so I walked around to every single booth, and nobody had Castlevania for sale. Like, everyone bought it. I talked to every single person. I'm like, what's the deal? Where is Castlevania? Like, do you have it? And I already owned a cart, but like, I wanted to just buy another cart and have that one signed. So every single dealer, every vendor was like, nope, out, sold out, sold out, sold out. So I finally went to an import vendor, and he happened to have this. And so I was talking to him, and I was like, do you have any Castlevania? He was like, I don't, but I have, Akumajou Dracula. So I was like, okay, so that's Castlevania. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, but, this is all I have. So I bought it. It was like $30. And it's not complete. It's just got the box and the cover art, but this fits into like another box with a manual and everything. So went up and had her sign it, and as you can see, she signed it. She put a little heart there, and I think that's just how she signs it, or maybe not. Maybe she's maybe she's just telling me no. Okay. Anyways, so that's my story on having Kinuyo Yamashita sign my copy of Akumajou Dracula. So cool stuff. I'm grateful for this game. I have a lot of fond memories playing it. I played the second one first. That was the first one that I ever played, but this one was the one I followed up with. And then Super Castlevania 4. And I don't know, this one, like, it's really good. It's one of the best games ever made, in my opinion, but it's just, it's hard, man. It's really hard when I got to like Dracula, and when I got specifically, Dracula wasn't as hard as Death. Death was really tough. I remember having a lot of trouble trying to beat him the first time. And I don't know if I beat this on the NES. I might have like played this on the NES, but I never beat it like on the NES. It wasn't until like I did years later, but I think I ended up beating this one on emulation, just using save states to try to figure out like how to do it. And I remember when I got to death, I must have restarted. Like I had to save after dying once or twice, and then be like, okay, now I have to use save states. I got to beat this game. And I remember getting through it. I also remember getting to Dracula and trying to beat him with, I think it's the cross that you have when you show up. It was either the cross or the axe, I can't remember off the top of my head. But you need the holy water to finish him. That's the easiest way to do it. And the holy water is there, right there in the last room. And I remember like hitting the candle for the holy water, but not using it or not grabbing it. So then I remember beating Dracula, his first form, and then he turns into that like, it almost looks like a Yeti or like a snow monster. I always called it like a snow monster when I was younger. And because he's like all white and bluish, he's got like a bluish tint to him. I don't know, I always thought it was a snow monster, but I remember trying to beat him with like, I think it was the cross, and I couldn't beat him. And it wasn't until like I realized, like it finally clicked, and I was like, oh, you need the holy water. Oh, duh, because that's how you stop him. You basically freeze frame him, and then you can, attack him. So that's it. That's my story on Castlevania. This is just a nice short little video I wanted to dedicate to the first game, tell my story about how I got the Akumajou Dracula signed, and share my thoughts on this one. It's an important game and in a just monolith of a franchise. And I'm curious about your stories, though. Do you have any experience with this one? And if not, do you have any experience with this one? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories in celebration of the first Castlevania game. And, happy 35th Castlevania. I hope to be around 10 more years, 20, 30 more years, whatever, so we can celebrate, hopefully your 45th, 55th, 65th. I just can't even imagine that. It's crazy. So thanks guys, and more videos to come.